What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to the Deal Lab. I'm Max Jimenez, your host. Super excited about today's show. Obviously, you guys know what we do here, right? We talk about everything. We talk about, we call sellers, we negotiate, we break down, conversations, the whole enchilada. So happy Friday, everyone. I have a saying that every single Friday, right? It's Finish Friday. Maybe some of you guys have heard me say that before, right? Finish Friday every dang Friday, as others are packing up because it's Friday, getting ready for the weekend. It is an opportunity for you to actually, finish the week strong because those individuals are getting ready, starting to pack for the weekend. So, for those of you that are joining on the stream, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'll give you a shout out. Where you're tuning in from, where you're watching. That way, let me. That way, it lets me know who my audience is. And I appreciate you guys that and gals that have been joining me for the last 2 days. Um, it's been amazing, honestly. These last 2 days, you guys have experienced a lot of different things inside of the live, right? I'm looking forward till today. Fridays are interesting. It's again, it's an opportunity, right? Finish Friday. It's an opportunity to really finish strong, right? Like I said earlier, while others are starting to pack up and getting ready for the weekend, it's your opportunity to take advantage of that when it comes to taking care of business. So we got Jorge. Jorge says, finish Friday 100. Let's go, Jorge. I appreciate you, bro, for being on the show today. We got my man, BD. What's going on, bro? All the way from Portland, Oregon. Shout out to BD, man. If you guys got deals in Oregon, I'm not doing any marketing or anything in Oregon. So, but if you guys have deals out there, connect with him. He's been doing this for a while. So, good to have you on, brother. Appreciate you. And so again, want to talk about a few things. I'm gonna let a few more people jump on before I really dive deep into conversation. You guys know the first 30, 40 minutes we'll get into some conversations, and then at the top of the hour we will start making some dials, talking to sellers. I have a few callbacks that I got to do today. One of them is that $1 million property that I talked to yesterday. Potentially, hopefully, we can get a hold of him. I'm looking forward to that conversation over in the properties in Naples, Florida. And there's a few follow ups, and obviously, we'll call some new leads that came in. We had some new leads come in overnight. So, as those of you that those of you that are new to the stream and to the show, the Deal Lab, let me know in the chat, like if you're watching. I know we always have viewers. A lot of times it's the same individuals that are commenting in the chat, which I appreciate a lot. Honestly, it just keeps the live more entertaining. It keeps the live engaging, which I truly admire, admire. So I want to thank you guys for those of you that engage in the chat, that ask the questions, that that are always in tune with what's happening. So, all right, now that we got a few of you in here, really quick. So a few things, want to talk a little bit about, some of the things I'm getting ready to do here. So, I actually posted this. I want to say maybe beginning of the middle of the week. I'm updating. Somebody asked about a script yesterday, so I'm updating the actual script. Or somebody asked the question yesterday. I think it was. Do you have a framework that you follow? And absolutely, like there is no way that you can really have what I want to say repetition and really have when it comes to talking to sellers where you can have what I want to say a rinse and repeat process. If you don't have a framework that you follow, right, there's really no way that you can do that, because what happens is when you have a framework that you can follow, right? And I'm going to talk about, and I touched a little bit on this yesterday on yesterday's episode, the difference of having a framework and actually having a script, right? Um, everyone that you see, right? It doesn't matter who it is, right? It doesn't matter how they approach the sales calls. But if you see them using the same formula and the same process, That is a framework, right? And so what happens is that you're gonna see you're gonna see little strategies, right? You're gonna see habits, and you're gonna see patterns, right? That even I do, right? So that's when you're seeing that there's a framework to their conversation. And you notice this because sellers will try to put you ahead, or they'll try to throw a curveball to you, or they'll try to do different things, right, to make to get you out of your element. Not They don't do it knowingly, right? I've always said this: sellers have their own process, right? Unwillingly, however that process is, right? If it's bad, if it's good, it doesn't matter. Like, sellers have their own process, and you're going to be put into that process. So if you ever see someone where a seller tries to ask them a question, or for example, when a seller tries to ask me about how much would I pay, right? Or how much do I offer? I don't go into comping right away, right? Especially if I'm not in the stage of negotiations, right? Like, why would I do that? So that's having a framework, right? Where if you're working off a script only, basically all you're doing is just regurgitating words on a paper, right? So you got to have the combination of both worlds, because if not, you are going to struggle. Even if you have a great script, even if you have good one liners, and basically, like, paraphrases and stuff like that. So it's very recommendable that you start to work off a script, work off it's a process that you can follow every single time on every single call. Now, it's always going to be different, right? And when it comes to how you handle the calls, because there's going to be sellers that might throw you a curveball, right? And so you have to be ready for that. And so the framework allows you to do that. So I say all that because I'm updating the script. I'm making it work for today's seller, right? You have to remember, like, just like we evolve, just like we get better, just like we tend to self development, professional development. Well, the marketplace does the same thing, right? New products come out, new companies open, new systems are out there. And so, the seller, or the market is more informed than ever, right? And so you have to be prepare for that. I'm not saying that they're smarter. I'm not saying that they know more than you. I'm not saying that they have all the answers now. What I'm saying is that you have to be prepared for that, because if they're evolving, right? If the marketplace is evolving, right? If our clientele, which is sellers, right, are evolving, then you have to evolve as well. And so that's why I continuously evolve the sales script, because I want to make sure that it fits, right? It fits for today's seller and today's prospect. It's something that I've always done from the beginning. I can't be using the same thing that worked 5 years ago. Like, that's ludicrous, right? That's insane. Like, that you think that you're going to get away doing that, right? And it might work. Look, because there's some things that are called evergreen, right? So there's some things that don't need change, and they're going to work regardless of what's happening. But still, you don't want to rely on that. You want to make sure that your process is evolving as well too. Jose, what's going on, brother? All the way from South Florida. Appreciate you, bro, for joining me. Jose's on here all the time. So let me make sure that I am live on my other streams here. Okay, we're good. All right, perfect. Cool. What questions do you guys have? Anything from the stream yesterday that any questions that you guys might have? I know there was some really good questions yesterday in regard to follow up. There was some good questions in regards to lead management, in regards to a few other things, which was really good and made the show really well. So any questions that you guys might have? I think there's there's a few of you on here that have been here since day one. So I want to keep helping you guys. How were your calls yesterday as well too? Because I know there was a few of you that had that had some activity going on yesterday. So any questions from the live stream yesterday? If you have a question, put it in the chat. I love to, answer that question for you guys if I can. And if I don't have an answer for it, I'll let you know, and I will definitely get it at another time. Um, so so today we got a few leads that came in last night. I'm actually pulling this up because I want to make sure that we're going to be ready to go here in a little bit. We did get quite a bit of leads actually. So today I'm looking forward to having a really good day conversation wise, just because we did get an influx of leads coming in overnight and yesterday. So um, any question, guys? Any questions that I can help you answer? We're gonna be super busy today with calls and stuff, so I want to get this going. So, few updates. Yesterday we booked some appointments. We got everything going. I might end up calling back. Starting Monday, I know maybe some of you guys are asking about the scorecard and all that, and some of you have reached out. We Monday I'm going to start using the scorecard fully. So Monday is when the scorecard is going to start. We're going to start using it as well, the tracker and everything else. So be on the lookout for that. Monday we're going to start doing that, so that way you guys can also start what do you call it? Checking it out. And I think some of you guys have reached out to as well about the what is it called, the recon sheet. Well, it used to be called the recon sheet, but now it's the daily performance sheet. So I'll send that out to you guys. I can give that to you guys, so that way you guys can have that. I know I believe some of you guys have already reached out about that. So um yeah. Other thing too is we are working on a CRM. So I know some of you guys have asked me about what CRM I use, and so the CRM that we use is we're coming up with the name right now, but it's in Go High Level. So it's you guys, most of you guys know, I've heard of Go High Level. It's actually a great system that's developed, and where all our leads come in there. So basically, I work all the leads out of that system. So and so far it's been good. I think I liked it. I think that it's better than some other ones that are out there, just because it's very, what do you call it, uh, user friendly. That's one of the things with CRMs. Like they can have a lot of stuff, but if they're not aesthetically like easy to use and user friendly, like I don't like CRMs like that. Honestly, like just make it to where need to see what I need to see, and then we'll go from there, right? Like I'm not looking for all these, that's the one thing, man, that I don't like. And I've tried a lot of CRMs, by the way. When they're not aesthetically easy to maneuver, right? Easy in the eyes, like, the setup is good and and nice. Like I like that, right? And I also, obviously, functionality matters, but everything matters at that point, because that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. So if it's really clunky, like I've seen some really clunky ones, and when I say clunky, like, well, you have to go to this screen to do that, and you have to go over here to do that, and then you have to do this to do that. Like, you lose me about the second go here to do that. Like, just because I just want to stay blinders on, focus, and let's go, right? That's really, for me, that's a really good CRM, right? I don't want to be having to jump around in 10 different places just to send a text message to a lead, right? So again, I know there's going to be some processes, and there's going to be some things that that you're going to have to deal with, and you're going to have to work around, which is fine. I never had an issue with that. I think that's pretty standard stuff. So Jorge says, are you rewriting the whole script or just a few tweaks? Excuse me. That's a great question. So, I'm in the middle of that. Because I'm not I guess the question, I guess I'll answer it this way. I am not rewriting the whole script. But I am definitely tweaking a lot of the script, right? And when I say that, obviously after using it so long, there's certain words that no longer apply, certain phrases, the way it's said. It's so I'm definitely like tweaking it to where it's gonna look different, but I'm not rewriting it, if that makes sense, right? Just tweaking s- uh, some phrases here, tweaking some uh, questions there. I wanted to, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want it to be a little bit more what I want to say I want it to hit a little bit more, right? Like when I don't want it to sound like I'm reading off a script, which that's up to me, but I still want to make sure that when I'm saying when I'm asking a question or I'm following it, like it's gonna hit, right? It's gonna allow the prospect to say, "Oh wow, okay, that's a great question," or you know what I mean. So definitely making some big. I'm not rewriting the whole thing, but I am definitely making some big tweaks when it comes to you know the script. So that's a good question. Jalen says, "What's your lead to contract ratio with PPC?" So right now, this is a whole brand new campaign with a new marketing company, and so right now the numbers are still coming in just because we just launched the campaign. Everything I've been calling on the show, by the way, guys, is about 30 days old. Think about that, right? Most of you want to move on pretty quick, and I'm going to answer your question, Jalen. I just want to make this point here. Most of the leads that I've been calling have already been in the CRM. They're not new leads. Occasionally a new lead has been trickling in. We're just starting now to have new leads come in, right? So like in the last, like today we had 3 leads come in. So I have 3 leads right now that I need to call back. So I don't know for this specific market, for this specific campaign. Now, what I can tell you from experience, because obviously I've used PPC for a while now, it, and for experience, what I can tell you is that on PPCs, because they're a higher quality lead, like if you can close like one in 12, right? 1 in 10 to 12, that's really good, honestly. I think that, and when I say 1 in 10 and 12, these are people that you're having conversations with, right? I'm not saying these are 10 to 12 leads that came into your CRM. You actually talked to them, you went through a discovery stage or something similar. Now, if you're past, like, let's say you're higher than like 15 and you're closer to the 20, there might be an issue with your process and how you're approaching these leads. If you're like under 12, right, 8 to 10, that's really good. Like you're converting very high. That's the rule of thumb that I follow, and I've seen it work. Maybe some other people might have a different opinion on that, but that's kind of what I've seen work. And look, and it's very subjective to your skill set, right? The problem with PPC is that a lot of people, what they do is especially new people that move from cold calling over to PPC, they have to make an adjustment, right? Because PPCs are not cold calling leads, right? So with cold calling leads, the approach is a little bit different. There's a lot more discovery. There's a lot more qualification, right? And so with PPC leads, like you have to always assume that they are ready to go. Like your mindset has to be like, this is a contract that I'm gonna get, right? Not like, man, I got 10 cold call leads. Let's see which one of these is serious about selling, right? Now you still have to run the PPC leads through a discovery stage and then a qualification stage, right? So doesn't mean that the work that you don't have to do the work. All I'm saying is that you have to shift your mindset where a PPC lead, that you need to view those as, this person is ready to sell. Like, when I get on the phone, my goal is to get the contract. That's what I'm going to do, right? Like if I'm looking at Clarence, which is a name in the lead, right? Clarence filled out the form and said, I want to sell my house. Call me. Compared to if I'm looking at Clarence and I got it from a cold call company, sure, I'll be interested in selling if they give me the right offer. Cold calling company sends the lead in. Well, now you got, right? Now you got 2 different types of scenarios, right? N- not saying that one or the other is not going to sell, but your mindset has to be where Clarence said, I want to sell, call me, versus I might be interested in selling if they offered the right price, right? Now, can both of those things be real for both? Yeah. But you as an individual has to make that mind shift of looking at the PPC leads as like, they're ready to go. Let's attack these and let's make sure that we are putting our best foot forward. Like you need to assume that these people are ready to go and sell. Now, not saying that you can't have that over here with the cold call leads, because you got to have that with all leads. But in reality, right, your mindset is a little bit different when it comes to. And then if you're cold calling for generating opportunity, it's a whole different level. So going back to answer your question is that if you're closing anywhere between 12 to 15, right, that's pretty good, I believe. I believe that's a good ratio, especially for PPC. If it's higher than that, then there's an issue with there's a problem, right, with your conversation. If you're closing less than that, like, man, you're crushing it, right? If you're closing, if you're contracting, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 11, 1 out of 9, whatever that is, it's pretty good. Like, that's a really good contract lead to contract ratio. So, and remember, one thing too that I'm going to put as a kind of a stipulation or whatever, when a prospect, when a lead comes into your CRM, it's an opportunity, right? So now you got to make it you got to turn that opportunity into a hot prospect, right? And so there's that other barrier too, because you might have 20 leads come in and you can't talk, and 5 of them you haven't been able to talk to. Now you're down to 15, right? You talk to 15, not 20. So make that adjustment, right? When we're talking about lead to contract ratio, yeah, it's still 20 leads to that contract, but how many of those leads did I actually talk to? So you have to take an account for that. If 20 leads came in, I can't get a hold of 5, and out of the 15, I had 10 conversations where I discovered their why and when. Now you're at what? Now you're at 1 out of 10, because those are the ones that you actually ran through the process, right? You can't do anything about the other 5 that are not answering. So you got to make the adjustment for that. So I would take it a step further, right? So if you're getting, let's just say you got 20 leads in 1 week, but 5 or 6 you didn't get a hold of, or they're not answering or responding, but you talked to 15. Out of that 15, right, you converted 7 or 8, because, and those are the people that or let's say 10, right? When I mean converted, I don't mean under contract, I mean from an opportunity to a potential hot, a hot prospect, right? Because you got their why and their when, which is their motivation and timeline. So now, are you 1 out of 20, or are you 1 out of 10? You see what I'm saying? So you have to make that adjustment. For accounting purposes, you got to be 1 out of 20, but for like closing, then it's like, one out of 10, right? It's really, so you have to be careful when you hear these guys and when you hear these individuals talk about their need to contract ratio rate, because it gets tricky, right? It gets really tricky when it comes to that. And that's why it's important to have good follow-up system, good, good a good drip sequence, good text messaging. It's good to maybe even a lead manager, just because those things are going to happen. So I know that was a long way to answer your question, Jalen, but seems like you found that very helpful. So again, I would, those three, the way I said was, like, make sure you're just following that, and then once you have enough data, right, to be able to determine, like once you have enough data to be able to determine, right, and formulate your contract to lead ratio, now you can really hone it down and start to really take off from there. So, where can we buy your script? That's a great question. So in the this new one is not released yet. It'll be released soon, but I have a version of this already inside of my school community. I said this 2 days ago. I don't do anything in my school community, but basically everything's there, right? The script training. I have 10 modules that actually show you how to use the script and break it down. There's about 5-minute videos on each module, and then there's the actual sales training in there as well too. But the link is in the description down at the bottom for the school community. So great questions, everyone. I like it. Let's see. Let's see if there's another question here. Okay. Yeah. So it's really tracking, tracking. It's like an art. I used to have, like, when we were ramped up and we were somewhat of a volume operation, right? This was years ago. I mean, we had, like, I would say we probably had anywhere between 8 to 12 virtual assistants and virtual team members, right? And when I say virtual team members, I'm not talking about for cold calling or for marketing. I'm talking about like in operations, because at that level you got to track everything, right? And so, we had one virtual team member that just would live in the CRM to make sure that the acquisition team was actually, dispositioning the leads correctly. Their whole purpose of why they were working with us was to live in the CRM, to navigate and to make sure that that they were dispositioning the leads right, they were setting up the follow-ups correctly. That was their whole job. All day they just be inside of the CRM, right? Messaging the acquisition manager. And then we had another virtual team member that would be in the CRM as well, and they would be in the CRM, and then they would talk to our marketing, our marketing team, and they're the ones that would give us a report every single week of all the leads that came in from the different marketing channels, which ones converted, which one didn't. Like, this can get really technical at some point, but obviously that's at scale, because you have to make sure that you are actually keeping track of that. It's very important. You can do this at this level as well too. It's a lot easier because you can just figure out, right? Like, if you're not getting more than 100 leads a week, like, you should be able to track, right? If you're getting like 40 leads a week, even more. So just make sure that you are keeping track of that. So Rocky said, how did you create your framework? Do you have a different framework for different lead types? That's a really great question, Rocky. And I don't know how long you've been following me, or if you just found the channel. So when I first started, this was back in, started full time wholesaling in 2017. Um, I would say end of 2016, early 2017, started full time. And so what happened, right, through 2017 all the way up to the end of 2018, I would say like October or November, I was just I was looking for I would go through every script. I even created some of my own scripts. And they were all pretty much standard scripts, right? Hello, this is Max. I was calling about your property. Want to see if you would consider getting a cash offer for that property, right? Pretty standard, straightforward. Read the script verbatim, right? Really no framework. It was just like, hey, if they want to sell, they want to sell. We're good. So what happened was, no, I'm just kidding. At some point, I was like, man, I need to get better. Like, I want to get better at this. And so, um, through God's timing, and that's what I'm going to say, because it was kind of somewhat of a moment that turned into a reality, right? And sometimes you got to be prepared for those, or else you're not going to walk in. Somebody that I knew personally was going to this training called the Sandler system, right? And so I was introduced to that, and so I ended up going as a guest, and so I ended up hiring a sales coach in October of 2018, right? So I ended up hiring a sales coach through the Sandler system. If you guys are familiar with the book, You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar, David Sandler, that's the founder of the Sandler system. It's a global sales training corporation, right? They train all over the world. And so my sales coach was actually a trainee of David Sandler. So he's like one of the last ones, because David Sandler ended up passing pretty young. And so he actually trained under him. So it was really good to be in that training. And I spent from October 2018 almost 5 years of being in the classroom, right? So I would go to appointments. I was actually only in Arizona in 2018 and then 2019, right? And so I was going to about 3 to 4 appointments, and then I would go back to training. I was going to training anywhere between 2 to 3 days a week. Really 3 days. The first 4 weeks was 3 days a week, and then it went down to 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. And training was early. It was at 9 o'clock. So I would not try to schedule any appointments between 9 and 10:30. And so, and listen, the Sandler system, if you go online right now, it doesn't pertain to any what I want to say, like any industry, any one industry. Like, it's a general sales training program. but it's very in depth, right? So I'll tell you this: the first 4 weeks when I was there, I was actually pretty unhappy with it because they weren't teaching me what I thought was sales. Right? I wasn't hearing like one-liners, closing phrases, but what they were teaching me was a foundation, right, to be able to make a mind shift about sales and how to approach sales. And so then I understood like there's more than just scripts. There's more than just but one liners and paraphrases and things like that, right? There's way to become an elite and to become a high performing closer. There's a lot more than that, and I'm saying this because of your question, because I want you to understand where my background is. And so yeah, so I kept going. I would go out to sales appointments, right? Seller appointments. This is all of 2019. I was going to three to four to five appointments a day, every single day. Boom, boom. Come back. I would Wednesday and Friday I would come in, and then I would say, hey, hey Brad, that was my sales trainer's name. Here's what I got going on. I went to visit this. I went to the two seller appointments. I didn't get these two contracts. Here's what happened. Here's what that, and then boom, he would correct me on site. And then so from again, from being in the classroom, going out in the real world experience, coming back to the classroom, and doing that repetitively. The first 3 years, I was like religiously, consistently working on my craft and working on my craft. And then the fourth year, I would just brush up. I would go once a week, right? And then the fifth year, it was like once every other week because I want to stay sharp. And so that's where I learned. That's where I created my framework. Right? Is I literally went to the Harvard of sales training. Right? I literally went to the Harvard of sales training. That's what I call it. And so that's how I was able to develop my scripts, my text templates, my framework, everything. So I ended up doing training at a very high level. Costing me a lot of money too, but it was well worth it. I mean, I probably made that 1,000-fold back, right? And so that's how I was able to do that, right? I got so good at it, and started teaching other people to do it, put it together. And I always recommend. People will always ask me, I'll never say no. Is it worth going to the Sandler training? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at what it's done for me. Now I'm going to tell you is that when you go, you got to be intentional, right? Because it does cost a lot of money. And if you don't go with intentionality of what you want, then it's going to be like you're just wasting time. So to answer your first question, that's how I was able to create my sales system and process of how I approach every single call, right? And it's pretty much the same every single time. Do I change my framework when it comes to different lead types? Nope. Because it's not about no, because it's not about the situation, right? I'm saying like if I'm calling, and I know what and I know why you're asking that question. Because if you're calling a lead that's in pre-foreclosure, should you approach them about the pre-foreclosure? If you're calling a lead that's got back taxes, should you approach them from about the back? Like you should be using one framework for every single prospect. Now there's underlying things that you have to follow, right? Like you have to understand personality types. You have to make sure that you're not talking to like the way you would talk to Max to a grandma. Like these things you have to know. Now that might be different, but your approach and the framework shouldn't be different based on the lead type. It should be different, and it should be adjusted based on the personality type. That makes sense? And not only on the personality type, the other level of this is based on the way they learn, right? And that's where it gets tricky. Most people don't even talk about this. Most people talk about the disc profile and the personality type. Very important that you need to know this, because then you have to make the adjustment. Your framework doesn't change. You just make the adjustments based on that personality type. And I talked about this yesterday. Um, so that way, when you are talking to somebody who is a driver, you're not talking to them like someone who is a steady person, right? A yellow, like very calm, very collective, don't like change, like to slow things down. Like you have to make that adjustment. That you do have to be different on. And then what I meant by the different learning styles, right? So there's like visual learners, auditory learners, and then kinesthetic. The three different stages. The visual learner is somebody who needs to see, right? They need to see they need to see what they're going to learn, right? And that's a majority of the population, by the way. They're visual learners. So that's why storytelling works really well. Third party stories, storytelling works really well because people like to vision, they like to see things, right? And so painting a story gives them that opportunity. The other one is an auditory learner. That's me. I'm an auditory learner. Like I can listen to something and learn from it. Like I don't have to, see and read and look at what you're talking about in order to learn. That's just the way I'm programmed. Like, I'm an auditory learner, which has helped me a lot, by the way. And then the third one is kinesthetic, right? Kinesthetic is somebody who needs to not only see and hear, they also need to have it in front of them, right? So, like, I don't have a book here by me, but let me grab this envelope. So I need to be listening to you, and then I need to see you, but I also need to have it in front of me. Like it needs to be, it's a touch, hear, and feel, right? Like, or see, touch, hear, and see. So like that's a kinesthetic person. So if you're ever talking to a seller and they're like, send me something, right? Send me something so I can see it in my email, right? Could be talking to a visual person for the most part. Send me something so I can see it in the email, and send me something in the email so I can print it out and then I can look at it. It's a kinesthetic person, right? That's somebody that basically learns from, not only learns from seeing and also from hearing. So those are different learning styles. And some of you guys maybe didn't even know about that. Now, what's the benefit of knowing that, right? Because that's a lot. What's the benefit of knowing that? The benefit of knowing that is using the words that relate to them. So if I'm talking to a visual person, you're going to hear words like, I like to see that. You know what? I've never seen something like that. Wow, you saw that? When I go see that movie, right? Or did you see that video? So you'll hear words like that, right? An auditory person, obviously, you know what? When I heard about that movie, you see what I'm saying? It's not when I saw that movie, it's when I heard about that movie, or you know what? Did you hear about that? Or it sounds like you're telling me. Um, and then a kinesthetic person does both of those, right? Like, so again, this is more in depth, right? So yeah, so Rocky, I went a little bit more in depth than I should have, but I wanted you to get the whole picture. Hopefully that was helpful, guys. Sometimes that goes over people's head, but if you understand those things, imagine how unstoppable you become, right? It's one of those things where like it gives you ninja insights, right? And so going back to your question is that's how I created my framework. And then second, I don't have a different framework, but I do have a different approach when it comes to talking to different personality types and people that learn differently. It's always, you know what I mean. This is the mistake that a lot of salespeople make, especially acquisitions, is talking to every single seller the same way, right? And you guys will see this a lot through my calls. I don't To me, that's why it's very important. The active listening skills is very important because you have to know what's on the other side based on tonality, and you have to know quick. You should be paying attention to that. Like when you first start the call, you should be firm in your tonality. You should deliver your message very quick, clear, and concise. That's why my elevator pitch is very short, right? Hey, I was calling because we got your inquiry submitted about selling that property, on our website about selling that property, and then boom, right? And that way you can hear what's coming back on the other side so you can make the adjustments, right? Because if you don't make the adjustments, you're going to talk to an S personality. It's more laid back, doesn't like change. You're going to talk to them like a driver. Like, let's say you're a driver. I think everyone on this call is probably a driver. Um, and you're going to lose them, right? Trust goes out the window because they're going to feel like you're being aggressive. Same thing with if you're talking to a driver and you don't make the adjustment and you stay within the mono tonality, like, okay, you want to sell, got it, okay. Well, the driver's gonna go crazy, like, come on, man, get to the point. Like, what's your point, right? So this is good. You have to make those adjustments when you're talking to sellers. That you can't talk to sellers every you can't talk to all the sellers the same way unless they're the same personality. So Tabiti, thank you for the chat. Sounds like you. Thank you for finding that information valuable. So, Rocky, I hope that helped. I know I went on a long tangent there, but I think it's good to know, like, the background of where I got all this. So, all right, cool. Great way to start the morning. Good questions. So I love it. And it's gonna set us up really well for our call. So Derek said tonality, voice inflection, energy, pay attention to what's coming back in mirror. Absolutely. I love that. Right. And so the big reason is tonality is like your tonality is your body language, right? On the phones. Like you're not in front of the person. So your voice inflection, tonality is your body language. Your voice inflection is what instills confidence or instills untrustiness, right? Like they're not going to trust you or breaks trust, excuse me. And then your energy, right, translates for sure, right? Like what's your energy? Now experience does help, guys. Like I'm not gonna sit here and make it sound like experience doesn't help, because experience gives you confidence, right? But don't let that keep you from going out and messing it up, right? The only way you get experience if you mess it up, because a lot of people, what they try to do is they try to get all this information I just talked about today and never go out and take action and think that just the information alone is going to give them the results. You got to go out and mess it up, because if you don't mess it up, how are you going to know what to correct, right? And so that's the big difference. It's like experience gives you confidence as well, but it's not, you don't have to have experience to be confident on the phone, right? Tonality, use this right here, what Derek just gave us: tonality, voice inflection, energy, right? Pay attention to what's coming back in mirror, right? Because if you can do that on every single call, and the goal is to not control the conversation. You're going to hear this a lot from a lot of sales trainers, right? Oh, control the conversation. Like the problem is that if you're going to go with that mindset of controlling the conversation, it's actually going to put you out of your game, right? And I'm going to tell you why right now. The goal should not ever be to control the conversation. The goal should always be 100% of the time to orchestrate the conversation to the outcome that you want, right? Orchestrate the conversation. What does a maestro do when they're in their element, right? They don't play drum. They're not controlling the trombone, the drums, the violin. They're orchestrating the way they want that violin to sound. They're orchestrating the way they want that trombone to sound. They're orchestrating the way they want that drum to sound, right? So orchestra at the highest level, right? They're orchestrating individuals that are playing the instruments, but they're dictating how higher they go and how low they go and who should go next. That should be the goal of every sales call. I don't want to control them. I just want to make sure they stay in control. Make sure they stay, right? Make sure that I'm orchestrating them correctly by asking questions, making statements, things like that. That should be your goal. Let's orchestrate this call to the outcome of, again, of getting a contract, right? And you might have to orchestrate it to where you end the sale, right? So this right here, what Derek put is very good. You're welcome, man. I was only able to watch up until the first call you had yesterday. I need to go back and finish watching yesterday live. But one thing I noticed on the call, you seem very, very comfortable. I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Again, it's there's a lot that goes on before I jump on this, right? Like preparing and prepping and stuff like that. It's relax, breathe, right? Most people say that. And so, because at the end of the day, again, Derek, controlling, right? You got to control. I don't want to control anything. I already have a hard time controlling this whole live here. Right? And I'm pretty sure you can relate to whatever your world is, right? Uh my goal is to just get on the phones and orchestrate a very high level conversation. If I can't orchestrate it, I'm not going to force, right, the pianist or pianist, however they say it, to do something he can't do. I'll orchestrate it to help him play it at the right moment by asking the questions, right? The seller saying the right things at the right moment in order for them to give me the information that I'm looking for. Now, am I going to be assertive at time? Absolutely. But that's what a maestro does, right? I'll be assertive. I'm not going to be a brute and be aggressive, right? And so I just have to relax. Look, I'm okay with, you guys know this. I've been saying this for years now. I'm okay with three outcomes: get the contract, set up a follow up, and the third thing is ending the sale. I'll be more than happy to end the sale. Why? Not because I got too much, not because I got a lot of leads that I can call, right? Just because you can't convince anyone to do anything, right? You can't control somebody to sign a contract. And if you do, I can guarantee you 99.9% of the time, that's not going to make it to the closing table. Remember that. If you force and control someone to sign an agreement, 99.9%, that seller is going to ghost you, right? And so, yeah, that's why, and now at this stage, like, I'm pretty relaxed with the calls and things like that. So, how important is having a routine for your calls? Bro, I developed a training called the PASS system, right? And it's and in the PASS system, it's planning, attitude, and strategy, right? Planning, attitude, and strategy. And what I always say is that if you don't have some sort of plan going into your calls, right? Like if you don't have some sort of um mind shift, when your attitude is going to suck, honestly, after your third or fourth call. So it's very important to have some sort of planning for your prospecting, right? It's very important. That's why that recon sheet that I had, and I keep calling it recon sheet, I'm just muscle memory. That helps you do that because you get to assess your previous day, you get to write the goals for today's date, and then you get to assess the wins for today, right? And so I think that's the most important thing. If you most of the time, what happens is we think that we're just gonna get on the phone and wing it. Like, good luck, right? You're gonna get frustrated and you're gonna want to quit. You got to have some type of goal that you can hit. You got to have some type of structure that you can follow every single day. Most people have it for their personal life, but when it comes to this, they just wing it. I never understand that, right? If they know it's important for their personal life, like, why not have some type of routine, whether it's in the morning or afternoon, wherever your call session starts, before your call session, at least 45, 30 to 45 minutes, if not an hour, get everything prepped, get your questions, your script up, get your leads up, get your dialer up, read through your script, view the problem areas, have your objection sheet with the rebuttals ready in front of you, right? Like, and then write down some affirmations, right? And then one of the things that I say in the plan in the past system is that you should act as if. I'm not a believer in make it till you fake it till you make it. It has a negative connotation, right? So act as if you've done this before, act as if you don't need the deal, act as if you already have $1 million in the bank account. Act as if until it becomes a reality, right? I'm a big believer in that. So very important to have some type of routine before you make dials for sure. Cool. Good questions, everyone. I love that. I love the routine question. I think that's huge because a lot of people don't really talk about that when it comes to prospecting. Oh, I said a lot. I hope you guys are taking notes. All right, let's see. Let me pull up the CRM. We're gonna get ready to start making some dials here. Boom, 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 boom. Hopefully, you guys found that valuable. I mean, I went through a lot on there, but I wanted to make sure that everyone understands, how do you go from being average to being a high performer, right? I think there's a big difference. So, oops. All right. Let me see who we got here. Clarence. Uh, all right, let's see. Okay. One of the things that I want to do is I'm going to start with the property for. Um, I want to see if that $1 million property is within the numbers. Let's see. So as I'm doing this, quick tips when who by the way, drop in the comment section. What do you guys use for comping? I'm curious to see what do you guys use for comping locally and then also in other states. I'm curious if you guys if you guys can drop the. I want to see. I'm curious to see what you guys use when it comes to comping. And then I'm going to tell you how. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you. And listen, I would love to show you guys what are like the my screen and stuff, but YouTube will take the video down if we start showing like houses and addresses. We've had that happen before in the past, and I just don't want to. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So, but let me know in the comment section what do you guys use for comping? I'm curious. Okay, we got MLS, Batch, and Zillow. Propwire and Zillow. Okay. Says Redfin for the most part. Nice. Okay, Zillow. All right. So quite a bit of you are using Zillow, which is great. And then some of you are using the MLS for local market, which you should. I think that you know, I think that's really good. You should if you have access to it. Jalen said Chat GPT. Are you serious about that, bro? I haven't tried that, but I love Chat GPT. I've been using it for a while now. So I'm curious, man. We got to talk because I didn't think about that. Zillow, okay. Derek said, "Are you familiar?" Yeah, RPR. So yeah, RPR is actually gives you like 5 stars, I think, I believe, right? Or sorry, not 5 stars. It'll give you a star ranking, and I believe if it's higher, obviously it's closer to that price point. But RPR is really good, but I think you need to be licensed, right, to use RPR. Am I correct on that, Derek? You need to have a license to use RPR, I believe. Comp with big three portals, Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, MLS. Perfect. And then Derek says, yeah, you need to have a license. Got it. Yeah. I like RPR, by the way. I'm not licensed. So I used to be a realtor's assistant, back in the day. So and that's how I was getting access to the MLS. So let me see here. So 5 bedrooms. So when I'm comping, I use Zillow, right? I told you guys I use Zillow for comping. I use realtor.com for picture for photos. And then I use PropStream to identify ownership, mortgage, all that stuff. So but man, I'm curious, Jalen, Chat GPT, because I use that every single day. I mean, it's helping me. It's helped me tremendously. I mean, you have to know how to prompt it. I know most people aren't comfortable with it yet, but you have to know how to prompt it. You have to know how to, use it, right? Like ask the right questions, correct it, and all that. The one thing that it's really good for is for disposition to have it create for you a really good what is called template, like a for your property. So when you show it to investors, It'll have all the highlights. It's really good for the for like an investor live draft, or if you put it in a Word doc, right? Like you can create a great flyer with all the links and stuff, so it'll do it for you. Yeah. Let's see. So I use like I said, I use Zillow for comping. One thing I like about Zillow, again, it's obviously it's been around for a long time, right? And it's got yeah, Jalen said it works. Yeah. Yep. For creating your marketing description, it's phenomenal, man. Like it'll give you some of the best words. Mauro said AI is booming. DeepSeek goes further than ChatGPT at times. Yeah, I haven't used that yet. I heard there's like mixed reviews on it, so I want to make sure. I haven't tried it yet, but might be something I'll look into. Because I do believe in AI. I think you just need to know how to use it, right? So the big portals really shape buyers' view of value, regardless of what I say and show. Okay, got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. So when I'm comping on Chat GPT, right? One of the things that I do, or sorry, Chat GPT, Zillow. When I'm comping on Zillow, I like to have two windows open, right? So one of them it'll be with the subject property, and then the other one is always going to be with the area, because I like to go back and forth just to make sure when I'm comping something, I'm making the comparison, right? So I know most people don't have never thought about doing that for some reason. So what I'll do is I'll keep I'll keep the subject property on one side, and then I'll look at the area on the other tab, and that way it lets me navigate. It lets me select the different dates, and I usually start within 90 days. Usually that's my starting point. And then what I do is if there's too many, I'll reduce it down to 30 days. If there's not enough, I'll go back 6 months, right? And then I just start doing that increments. And then I always so there's two things that I do before going out in space. I will go out in time, right? So if there's nothing for me to look at within the 90 days or the 6 months, I'll go all the way to 12 months before I start heading out in space. It just keeps me a lot safer. But if I can't find nothing within the timeline, then I'm gonna have to go out in space, right? So that's a big key for me is I'll go back in time versus going out in space. So it's just a rule of thumb for me, right? Because you start to, especially in like markets that you don't live in and you don't really understand, like you have to be careful going out in space because you don't know the neighborhoods, right? You don't know like here in Phoenix and Tempe and Mesa and all that. Like I can tell you, like you tell me a street, a crossroad, oh no, don't stay away from there. You can't use those comps. But in Georgia, I don't know the neighborhoods, so I want to stay safe. So I rather go back in time than out in space. Now, like I said, I will go out in space if I can, if I don't have anything for the what I want to say for going back in time, right? That's a rule of thumb that I've always lived by, and it's helped me really well because I want to stay within the neighborhood, right? I want to make sure that I am, not going too far out before I can find something within that neighborhood. So, what up, Kyle? How you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. Appreciate you for joining us. I need AI for repair costs. I struggle with that. Yeah. So the problem with a repair cost, it's very subjective, right? So like you know and the reason I say it's very subjective is because you're gonna talk to a flipper who does maybe 3 flips a year, 4 flips a year, and they have to buy their own material. They do everything themselves, so they might need it at a bigger discount, right? The material cost is going to be a lot more compared to maybe a flipper who does 3 to 5 a month, right? They might have some material. They need properties to keep their crews busy, so they're willing to make a little bit less on the deal, right? And so you have to be careful now for buying purposes or contracting purposes. I would recommend going very conservative, right? I have a repair cost sheet that I go off of, and I'm super conservative on it. So if all else fails, I know that I was very conservative on the repairs, right? And it's tough because, like I said, it's very subjective. That's why when we dispo our deals, I don't put repair like what the repair costs are, right? The total, anyways, a number. I just wait till they call and then they ask, well, what are the repairs? What they well, here's what it needs, and we always give them that information. Here's what it needs. We never put here's ARV. Here's what the total repair costs, because 100% of the time they're going to tell you you're wrong, right? Because it's subjective. It's subjective to their situation, right? Like I said, they're gonna, you're gonna have some buyers that'll come back and say, and listen, I years ago, I had I had a text thread that I screenshotted. I sent it to 5 different buyers, right, back to back to back to back, and then four of them or three of them responded. The fourth one responded later, and I screenshotted it, and they were all within about 10, 20, 30. They were all within $10,000 difference. It was crazy to see that, right? And I screenshotted that and I sent it to the team and I say, here you go. This is the reason why repairs, and we don't put repair cost or repair number inside of our investor lift draft, because it's going to be very subjective and no one's going to agree with your repair cost. 100% of the time, they're never going to. They're going to think this is going to be much more than that. So, but still, you have to know it in order for you to contract, right? You have to at least have some type of idea. So always go very conservative, right? So I have a cheat sheet that helps me based on if it's just a quick lip stip rehab, full gut, things like that, and then based off the square footage to be able to go off of, because I want to make sure that I stay conservative. So yeah, repair calls are tricky, man. Unless you're a real flipper in that market, unless you're flipping, not a real flipper, unless you're consistently flipping in that market, in the one market that you're buying, you're good at repair estimates. Besides that, it's always subjective. You know. Oops. All right, let's see. Kyle said, "Smiling and dialing. Let's go. I love it. We're about to get dialing right now, bro." All right, I'm just taking a quick look at this before I end up calling this guy. Mm, 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 mm. Let's see. Interesting. I'm looking at that deal. The deal that's in Florida, the $1 million property. Hmm. It's not bad. There's been 4 sales in the last 6 months. Just want to see what year built this. 2001. Newer than that. And it's a again, for this area, 4 sales in the last 6 months at that price point. It's not bad actually, because we're talking about two, 1.5 to $3 million properties, right? Even 4 million. There was one that sold for 4 million. Now that one for 4 million is obviously it's a brand new property, so I'm not even looking at that one. But I'm just saying, for those price points to have four sales in the last 6 months, that's pretty solid. And then the smallest one, which is that one sold for 2.1 million. Nice. Except for that one has a pool. Hmm. I might do an option on this just because. Are you guys familiar with what an option agreement is? Let me know in the chat if you guys know what an option agreement is. I might end up doing an option agreement on this and then shopping it out before I fully contract it. It's just really tricky because there is 2.1 million dollar prop. Like there's some like I think we anchored him at 1.3 and then he's like no 1.5, but there is one that sold for 2.1, which is like, but it's pretty decked out and it has a pool. His is outdated. It has no pool. Got the same acres, 2.5 acres. This one's 6 years, 6 years. So there might be something there, but the only thing that scares me when you get to we're talking about repairs costs, right? The only thing that scares me is is these properties at 5,000 square feet. Even if you did repairs, let's just say that even if it needed cosmetics and you did, $20 a square foot times 44.99. I mean, you're talking almost 100K rehab. That's on the low end, by the way. For these right here, you're probably more like 50, just because it is a luxury property, right? We're talking $1 million properties. So times 44.99. I mean, now we're going into like the $200,000 range, right? So let's just say he wants, I don't know, I'm gonna call him right now, but let's just say he wants, 1.6, right? Because he didn't go for the 1.3 when I anchored him. Um, and then you add the 200,000, that doesn't include any sales costs. So that puts you pretty close to what it could be worth. Now, if I pitch him and say, hey, listen, like, we're probably not going to be the buyer for this because we do need it closer to the 1.3. And the way I pitch is, and I'm gonna give you guys the breakdown here. Familiar with an option? Cool. Yep. Derek, obviously. The option to purchase the property without being expected full purchase if you can't find a proper buyer. Yep. Exactly. Right. Option agreement still gives me the right now to, still market the property. It's a one page agreement. And so it does give me the ability to market it like if I had it under contract. So it'll be an exclusive agreement. So that's what I'm going to pitch them. And the way I pitch it is I say, I'm going to call them back and then I'm going to tell them, hey, John, after looking at, doing my due diligence and looking at the area, I'm probably not going to be the buyer for you. However, one of the things I wanted to present to you is that we do have a large investment network of over. We have a large investment network. I got over 1 million contacts in our database, which we do. I love to show that property to them to try to get you, your number, or to get you exactly what you want. All I need is the one-page permission slip. I don't say option agreement. I don't say, like, because a lot of people don't know what that is, right? So I present it as I present it as a one-page permission slip, so I'm able to show it to them, and then the objection to that is always going to be, well, go ahead and show it to them. Well, unfortunately, legally, I can't present a property if I have no permission from the owner, right? So that one-page permission slip gives me, the ability to do that, and I can probably get you even more than what you're thinking, um, based on the feedback that I get from the buyers, and then basically you can make the decision, and like all I need is basically 14 days, and so then that's how you pitch it, right? and then you tie it up and then go out, and let's just say we put it out there for 1.6, 1.7, and we get some offers, 1.4. Then it goes back. Then we go back to him and say, hey, we're getting offers around this price point. And then, okay, I'll take that, lock it up, and then assign it to that buyer. So option agreements are really good in this type of situation because you're not fully committed with a full executed purchase contract, but you're still able to like, you're still able to promote, you're still able to have, I hate using this word because it's so overused, but that's the right term. You'll still have equitable interest for the most part, right? So if anything ever happens, you can show them that document. So you should be able to. Gives you the option to market it before locking it up. Yeah, that's what it is. Don't use a marketing agreement. Don't ever use a marketing agreement, right? If you're not a realtor, you can't be. You have to be. You always have to be the principal on the paper, right? So just make sure of that. And again, I'm not an attorney. Every state's different, but that's the gist. Like you always have to be the principal. But yeah, that's right, Francisco. You could do that. So, all right, let me give him a call and see what he says. Let's see if he picks up. Y'all ready for this?
Good, John.
Hello, John. It's Max. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Probably caught you at a bad time.
Oh,
Okay, perfect, perfect. Sorry about that. I ended up, doing some other things, but I wanted to call you back just to give you an update. On obviously we did our due diligence, looked at the area and stuff. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to be the buyer for the property at this point.
okay.
For us, we would have
Appreciate you
to.
calling me.
Yeah, yeah. I do have one question for you, John. So even though we're not going to be the buyer for it, we do have a large investment network. I think we have over 1 million contacts in our database. And one of the things I wanted to, obviously talk to you about is that I would love to present the property to our database. This is not a listing or going on the MLS or anything like that. It's just these are individuals that would actually pay a lot more than what we would initially. And so one of the things I would like to do is see if I could present it to them, and it's a large database where they would be able to close, as fast as we would, and the same convenience and everything. Now, the only
blowing my phone. I don't want them blowing my phone up.
no, 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 they're not going to be calling you. They're actually going to be calling me. Yeah, they're going to be calling
All
me.
right.
So your number is not going to be anywhere except for my phone. And so and then basically we would get a respond like right away, just because they know who we are, they're our contacts. And then I come back to you and I get, and obviously the goal would be to get you exactly what you wanted, right?
Yeah, it's whatever it can get is what I can get. And obviously, I don't really. If you find a buyer, that's your thing, and I realize that's a business in itself. So
Yeah, of course,
if
of
you,
course. And I didn't want to waste your time, right? This is why I wanted to present this to you. Now, one of the things, one of the ways this works is that in order for me to be able to do that, I would definitely have to have a like a one-page permission slip. It's non-exclusive. It's not like you're signing a contract with me. All it says is that, hey, John is giving Max permission to present this property to his investor network.
yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. Let me read back the email. Make sure I have the right email on file. Hold on. Okay. Okay, I'll write it up and I'll send it over to you. It's one page, very simple document. It doesn't lock you in or anything. This just says John is giving Max permission to present the property. And then as soon as we get that back, I can put it out there, and all the calls are going to come to me, and then I'll let you know what offers are coming in, and you can decide. It's up to you which way you want to go with it, okay?
All right. Thank you.
I'll send it over to you. Thanks, John.
You're
Bye. Boom, baby. Let's go. All right. That's the first part. So now we got to send them the document right now. So we're gonna leave the price point open. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put see a dent see for the contract. So we're I'm gonna send it over to him right now so that way he can look at it. Let's see. Stand by, y'all. Let me make sure make sure he's not listed under an entity. This is why I use PropStream because you can't go off. Never put the I shouldn't say never, but always make sure that you are that you're verifying ownership because what comes in through your CRM is not always the name that's on title, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to PropStream. Here we go. Oh, it's under his personal name. Interesting. Okay. Okay, perfect. Simple enough. I'm surprised that it's under his personal name. That's crazy. So what's the question here? What type of agreement is it? I'll answer that question right now and your other guys' question. Let me get this sent over and then I'll talk about this. I want him to sign it right now. We have a potential buyer, by the way, too. So that's why I wanted to get this signed. Option period. We're going to put, actually, I'm going to do this for 10 business days. So I have a little handy cheat here, or handy dandy cheap business day calculator. So if I want to have it for 10 business days from today's date, I calculate it. That puts me at April 25th. So that's what I'm going to put it for 10 business days. Pace. Okay. Oops. Okay. And then I got to add. Let's see. What is this? All right, bear with me, guys. Just trying to get through this. What do you guys use for your for your e-signatures? What do you guys typically use? Almost done. Send it out to him. All right, perfect. Okay. Use this template. Let's see, John. Okay. Continue. Hmm. All right, I want him to sign first. Oh, there we go. Okay, see additional terms. Okay, perfect. Okay. It's been sent. So let me go ahead and message him. All right, let me make one quick call. Okay. Let's see here. Get out of here. Home. Okay. All right. It's been sent. Send him a message. So let me see. What are you guys' question here? What kind of agreement is that? Okay. I don't know if you were on while explaining that. So this is an option agreement to purchase real property. It's a one-page document, and basically, the provisions that it states on it is that if seller understands that the buyer is an independent private investor with the intention to either purchase the property for rental, for wholesale, or for rehab and sell, to find an end buyer and assign this option agreement to that end buyer for an assignment fee paid at the closing by title company. So this, this is what's going to help you guys. For those of you that are out there, hopefully none of you guys are doing this. Stop marketing properties that you have no paperwork, right? That gives you the ability to do so, because you can get in trouble. So this one-page document that I present as a permission slip, not as an option agreement, because most sellers don't know what that is gives me the ability to do that, right? I can even blast it on investor lift. I can blast it on, to a few buyers. So, at the end of the day, this is like this will give me the permission to do that, right? Without, if anything ever happens, what I'll do is I have this document that John, the owner, right, of the property, gave me the permission to market the property, and he knows I'm not a real estate agent, because there some of the provision states that I'm not a real estate agent. I'm making no representation. I'm an independent investor, right? Let's see. How do you position it on the email for the buyers without giving them the idea of circumventing the deal from you? The buyers don't need to know anything, Francisco. So the buyers don't need to know anything at all, right? Like, why would I tell them how I have this locked up, right? Now, the one thing that you're gonna have to do, and you're gonna have to do, is, like, if you do find a buyer for it, don't sign an assignment agreement with them yet until you have a full executed purchase contract with the seller. That's the only thing that you have to be careful doing. That's the way I recommend it, because you never know what can happen with the seller, right? Like, sellers will forget about you, right? Sellers will probably make sure that you are, sometimes, right, they'll forget about you, but the buyer don't need to know, like, have any idea of what you're doing, how you have this deal locked up. Now, how do you stop them from, how do you position it, um without them circumventing the deal from you? So I'm very straightforward, man. Like, goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just like with sellers, you have to be serious about your business, right? When I talk to buyers, or when a disposition team member talks to buyers, like, we got to make sure that they understand that we mean business and we're serious about what we do, right? Your tone, the way you approach it, everything matters. Now, that doesn't say that occasionally you'll get, some buyers that'll try to, act crazy, but, you just have to, stand your, set the tone, set the rules of engagement, make sure that they understand if they go out there to look at it, that they are, that that the only questions that they need to be asking or the only person they need to be asking questions to is yourself, right? That's it. So it's a lot of work, man. Like, it's never perfect, but again, be serious about what you do. Do you ever do exclusive options? I do. I do. In this case, I didn't want to do an exclusive with him just because, I want him to feel comfortable about this transaction, because I feel like we have a good buyer from the conversation I had earlier. So I'm not. I don't want. I want this. I want him to feel comfortable, like, doing this. So, okay. So you use Adobe. Kyle uses Dotloop. So Adobe. I use PandaDoc. I like PandaDoc's actually really good. So I do like the way they have like the way they have it, and you can send unlimited signatures as well too. So let's see if he's text me back. Hmm. Did it not go through? Not viewed yet. Yeah, I use PandaDoc. It actually works really well. Okay, we'll let them look at that and sign it, and then we're gonna make some more calls. So great questions. Actually, let me call.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, what's going on, brother?
Driving back.
Oh, are you from San Antonio or what?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I just talked to John, the guy, the seller with the property out in Naples.
Okay.
So I got him to agree to sign on an option agreement. So I'm gonna lock him in first, and then once he signs that option agreement, we'll get the buyer to go out there. So that gives us a little bit of a little bit of safety, knowing that we have something
Yeah.
signed with the seller. But I want him to execute that first, and then basically, if you want to, and then as soon as he does that, I'll shoot you over a text, and then that way I can have the buyer walk it. So and so once you do that, I'll let you know. Okay.
Let's do it.
Yep. Cool, bro. Well, have a safe trip, man. Drive safe.
I appreciate it.
Yep. See ya later. Yep. Yep. What is the answer here? What is the question? I've seen wholesalers do something similar, but use a flat fee MLS to market the property, charges seller 3 to 10K. No, I just don't. I would never do that unless you're licensed. I stay away from that as far as possible because again, you're what are you doing in that case, right? You're not a principal. Remember, you have to be a principal in every one of your documents, and you might want to check this. And your every state is different, but I'm telling you, in general conversation, I'm not an attorney. I don't play one as on TV either. But you always have to be a principal. In this situation, you're not a principal, right? You're brokering the deal. That's what you're doing, right? Now, maybe that wholesaler's license and they can do that. Yeah, why not, right? I would do that all day. Because again, you're not doing anything different than than anything. But in here on with this document, it puts me as a principal, and I'm disclosing my intention based on right on what I'm gonna do in regards to selling the property. So all right, let's do some calls. Calls. But again, these one more thing, these are the decisions you got to make, right? When you're analyzing deals. Remember, no deal's the same. You got to know like how you're going to approach it, what you should do. Listen, like I'm always going to stay in the area of probability, right? Is this a good deal? Probably. Am I going to put the seller in a position where probably going to waste his time? I don't want to do that. So I'm like, let me analyze this. I looked at it. There's something here potentially, but I don't want to waste the seller's time. If he's willing to play ball and just be upfront with them, perfect. Let's do it. I am more than willing to do that. So
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you no, the person.
all right. So no answer. Come on, bro. Sorry, I'm sending a text to this seller. He just texted me back. See if he wants me to call him. All right, he just opened the document, so we will see, said the Zen master.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 9. Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging.
Hi, you've reached Tim Brokort. I'm not in.
Come on, Tim. I know you want to pick up.
Hi, you.
Nada. Twitch says, "Are you cold calling?" No, I don't. I don't cold call. No, I'm calling inbound leads.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not.
Feels like cold calling. No one's picking up.
Forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hello, Antonio. It's Max. I was calling about your property over at Stonewall Street because. Okay. Oops. Okay. Did I need to call everyone? That's crazy.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the
They usually sound like the number's blocked, honestly. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, here we go. Rafiki.
Hello, this is Rafik speaking.
Hello, Rafik. This is Max. I just got your text message. Said to give you a call.
Okay, yeah, I'm driving.
Okay.
I stopped for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important that I talk to you, and I don't have any paperwork or anything. I'm not in front of my computer, only my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So please understand.
Yeah.
Uh, 78 years old. I'm not the way I was, just so you know.
Yeah. No.
Okay, go ahead, please.
No problem. I definitely appreciate you for sharing that. And, I was calling, we were trying to call you, because we got your inquiry on our website about selling that property over at Pay Court.
Yeah. And is there any reference to any other phone call that I had
Is
today
there,
or yesterday?
is there a what? I'm sorry.
A reference, that someone called and then said someone would be calling. Is that any reference to that effect?
Yeah. You got the text message that said, "Hey, I saw that you reached out about selling the property. Can I love to have a quick 5 to 10 minute phone conversation with introduce myself?" Is that the text message you got?
Yeah, but the text message was follow up to someone that called me. Is that a reference? I'm
No,
just trying to read.
no, because
Okay,
we
go.
yeah, no, you're
Which
okay.
company are you?
I'm with Good Offer. Get Good Offer.
It's good offer. Okay.
Yeah, that's our
Okay, go
website
ahead,
that
please.
you went on. Okay. So you are so you are interested in selling that one. So I have some information, about the property. Can you confirm a few things for me just to make sure the information is correct? Is that fair?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I do see here online that the property is it's a 4 bedroom, 2 bathrooms.
2.5.
Oh, 2.5. Okay. Perfect. Okay, let me make sure I notate that because online it's only showing two bathrooms. So you said
Okay, what I can do, Max, to facilitate, since the first conversation with this company and you and me, I can, when I go home, I can send you a write-up, 2-page write-up that I have made, and it has all these information that if you ask me now when the windows were replaced or AC was replaced, I couldn't probably recollect. That's why I put it on record, not justified, that I can send you that material and also some of the photographs that I took as a naive person.
Yeah.
So after that, that will give you all kinds of information. And me and my wife is retired, and we moved in November because this is like upstairs and then basement, and our 2 sons became very, very worried that you'll fall, mom will fall.
Yeah.
So we moved already in November. The house is totally empty. I have cleaned it as is. So it is. We have a little time window in the sense that we have contracted a realtor, no contract signed, and she's supporting our effort to talk to you. We have her approval, so she's not technically our agent yet because we didn't sign any contract. That's so you know. So I'm a retired professor, so I talk and think a bit differently than you might expect for an owner. So I'm a reality. So then I'm interested in sincere effort to come to a point where our retirement is kind of, this is our last vestige of retirement that we might need, no. And your business end also is protected, meaning, if you see that you can buy the property and fix it or whatever, and then keep a margin reasonably, then we can seriously engage, and within a short time you can due diligence and give me an offer or whatever you want to do. So I'm willing to and able to provide you all the information that you need, and then you can go online and whatever ask me, and then or you can I can go to the house and then show you on the video what the house is. Any questions that I know it's an investment for you, so you have to do due diligence, and I facilitate that due diligence too.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Well, I do appreciate. I do appreciate you for sharing all that information. Obviously, one of the reasons why in the past why other homeowners, reach out to us is a few things you said, right? They are looking for potentially something a little more convenient. They usually don't want to do any work to the property, right? Sometimes they just want to choose their own closing date. That's part of the convenience, right? It sounds like to me potentially that's might be the best option for you guys. Is that kind of what I'm hearing right now?
Meaning, if you can come to a decision and we can agree on a price, the closing would be really quick because the house has been paid up long time ago.
Okay, got it.
There is nothing here. It's very clean.
Yeah.
Okay. There is nothing.
Right. What was the property? Was it a rental property, like an investment, or was it your primary?
We lived here for 33 years. Raised our family there.
Wow.
So we took care of the property.
That's a yeah. You lived there a long time, and it sounds like one of the main reasons why you're selling is because the kids are concerned for mom, and being that it's a 2-story property.
The reason.
Say it again.
The reason.
The reason.
We have love to die there and being buried by my neighbors. We had a great time, and we are blessed.
And let me ask you this: when you sell the property, what are your next steps? Are you, as far as like, it sounds like you already found somewhere else to live.
We moved already in November. The house is.
Wow, so it's been vacant for a few months then.
Well, I've been working on, getting the furniture out. It's not easy. It's furniture out and everything is clean now. It's clean and ready to move in as is. There's nothing wrong with it. Some things can be upgraded, of course, like carpet and etc. So we know that. But at the same time, it's a choice that we have to make whether to sell as is or fix it and sell it. That's what I'm working on right now. So it's a perfect window for the business like you to look at it seriously if you're serious, and I'll provide you all the information and facilitate your due diligence and whatever you need to do or to as quickly as possible. That's what we are.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. And then, if you do get an offer that you feel comfortable with, and offer you would want to move forward to, do you feel putting things in writing if you do have an offer like that?
It's kind of a technical question for me, in the sense that I've not dealt with these kinds of things for a long time.
Yeah.
So I have my sons; they are very knowledgeable. I have the realtors who help us buy this new property, if you will.
Right.
And so, my answer, naive, would be that if you make me an offer serious, you can put it on a paper, then I'll present it to my family, with again, we are working on it together. So they will know right away if it's a good offer and etc. From our end, it should not take time at all, if you will.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So it sounds to me like a timeline is not a concern as long as the offer makes sense for everyone involved.
Yes, the timeline is not a concern in the sense that, again, we have to, in a short time window, we have to decide whether to fix it. And that's, I'm driving to an appointment right now for the contractor to come and see what needs fixed and how much and that sort of thing. So we are in the process of doing that. So that creates, once we hire a contractor, then we are deciding that we're not going to sell as is.
Okay.
So there's a time.
Got it.
I hope I'm any.
That makes sense. And I know that you're, it sounds like you have a lot of options, which is great. Typically with with other homeowners that I've spoken to in the past, usually they don't have options. And so one of the questions for you, I guess, so just to get an understanding here, I know typically when I talk to sellers, they usually have a number in mind when they start considering selling. What ballpark, what do you feel comfortable selling this for if you didn't have to do all the work or list it on the market?
Again, these are work in progress. I couldn't even say I know it's a typical question would be, what would it be your asking price or what rate? My answer is that it is we don't have that number yet.
Okay.
It will come when all the costs and all kinds of things and and timeline.
Okay, so that hasn't been
I don't have a number.
Okay, that hasn't been discussed yet among your family. What would it? Because
it's not a discussion. It's not what I want for the house. It's like what you will go in either as is and after we fix it. So those will come after we move forward with what we are doing right now. So that's a good opportunity for to see if you are interested in a serious offer.
Well, here's I'm gonna take my buyer's hat off and put on my advisor hat just here for one quick second. If you're looking to maximize and get the most out of the property, I would recommend you fixing it up. If you have the money, if you have the time, and you have the manpower, then you're always going to get more if you do those things.
I understand, but you say manpower, this and time, and we are both old. We don't have, our sons are too busy, so they are not participating in anything. So selling at a reasonable price is an option for us.
Got it. So preferably you wouldn't want to do all the work. You would want to sell it as is.
Yeah. If the price is reasonable. I'm not asking for top dollar.
Yeah,
if you will.
I understand.
But it's our last retirement.
Yeah, of course. And look, I'm just, one of the things that I like to do is, because we don't buy every single property from everyone we talk to, it would be impossible. I like to understand the situation, see what your goals are, and then ultimately, if it works out, great. We can definitely move forward. What I like to do is, whenever you get a chance, if you can send me, the information that you have, and even if you have some pictures, because it's really difficult for me to really put an offer together where.
If you text me your email address, I'll do so.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. I'll text it to you so you can send it to me, and then I'll look at it, and then if you or me calling you back about this where you have at least 10 minutes without interruptions, what day would you do that? What day would you do that?
I will mention in the email, this is my priority. Talking to you would be my priority.
Okay. Got it.
It just happens that I have an appointment I have to go to right now, as I said.
Okay.
The contractor.
Yeah, no problem.
And he already. So I'll send you the email when I get your email address and when I go home, and then we'll take it from there. And you can call me anytime. Late night is even.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
No problem.
Okay,
but
perfect.
This is the priority for me at this point in time.
Okay,
All right.
I just texted you, and I texted you my email. So whenever you get an opportunity, please forward that over,
We will.
and then I will,
Yeah.
we'll set up, I'll call you. Most are you available on Saturdays as well, or no?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay,
Weekend is fine.
got it. Yeah, because this is what I do. So, I'll review it, and even if I don't call you later today, this evening, I will call you tomorrow, Saturday morning. How about that?
That would be awesome.
Okay. Perfect, Rafiq. Well, I appreciate the information. I took a lot of notes here. I'm looking forward to that email, and I'll review it, analyze it, and then I definitely looking forward to speaking with you either later on today or tomorrow morning. Okay.
Okay. And please note that I may not be able to send it the email until a little later because I have a friend with Parkinson's disease. After this meeting with the contractor guy, I have to take him out. Occasionally, I take him out, and that's his
Yeah,
only
no worries,
medication.
no worries. This is not. This is a big
So
decision.
I'll be
Yeah, no
out till
worries. This is a big decision. I don't want you to feel like. I want you to feel comfortable about the process and everything. So I'm not in a rush. I just whenever I get it, I'll look at it and then I'll communicate with you. How about that?
off. I really appreciate the favor. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. This should not be difficult. I want to try to make this this process as smooth as possible for you. Okay, Rafiq?
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you
of
very
course.
much.
I'll be waiting for that email. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye
Bye.
bye. All right, not a bad call. I mean, there's obviously a lot of motivation. It's interesting when someone says they don't know what they want for the property, right? To me, everyone has an idea of what they want based on what they need to do with the money, right? If it's paying off debt, paying off debt. If it's putting in a savings, put in a savings. If it's buying another property, buying another property. Like, and you saw, right? For somebody who asked about the framework, I met the seller where he is, right? Uh, um, he seems to be really sort of very nervous, right? Because this is not normal for him. So I'm trying to make it as comfortable as possible for him. But I asked the right questions and I put him on this. You still want to run your process and run them through your framework to identify if this is someone that's worth. I'm not going to say, yeah, send me the email and waste my time. Like, I don't want to look at emails all day, right? Like, I want to make sure that he's serious about selling. I want to make sure that, that this is a prospect that I want to, spend more time with. So that's what you do on a discovery call, right? And the next step is getting that information. And this is an analytical person, by the way, guys. If you guys didn't know, this is an analytical person. He's like, he's saying, I'm going to do this, going to do this first. If that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen. Analytical person, right? When you try to push an analytical person out of that structure, you're going to lose report on, right? And so that's why I approached them that way, because this guy is 100% analytical, right? Like, everything has to align like a graph. Right? Step one, step two, step three, step four. I'm going to be back in like 2 minutes. What do you guys think about that call? I want to see you guys, if you guys were paying attention. What stood out? What do you think? Any questions? Anything? I'll be right back. All right, let's see. So let me see. Actually, before I get to your question, I want to let's see. After careful consideration, property. Well, I appreciate your interest. I'll get to you guys' questions and comments here. I got to reply to John. Let's see what's next Friday. I want to see what the date is for next Friday. So next Friday is the 18th. Okay. So John, the guy that I sent the option agreement to, he wants to know if we can do a shorter term, which I'm okay with, because it was 14 days. But I need at least I'm gonna he wants 3 days, which I can't do because we're going into the weekend, right? You got in the weekends, most buyers don't do anything anyway. So I'm gonna email him back and tell him that I can't do 3 days, but I'll be willing to, if we can cut the 14 days in half to 7 days, that works better. All right, just message him, see what he says. 3 days is nothing. Like, I'm just wasting my time at that point. All right, let's see. Mauro said, "What do you think about Lead Zolo leads? Which one do you recommend?" Lead Zolo is actually a really good lead source. I know I got a lot of buddies of mine that are using Lead Zolo. I think Lead Zolo is good. I think it's a great lead source if you're thinking about PPL. Now, it just depends on your financials, right? Like, because I think they're pretty up there in price for the most part. The company that does the marketing for me, they do PPO as well too. So if you're interested, shoot me a DM. They might be a little bit more economical for you. But I think that one. But I use the one I'm using right now provides great leads for me. So, um, if you want more information on it, let me know. Mauro said fire call. Tavidi said great call, Max. Good pacing report. Yeah, definitely. I love that you took that away, Jose. That's a really good one. What's going on, bro? I haven't seen you in a while. Vaquero Pirata Beats. You got to change your name, bro. It says, I only caught the end, but from what I was able to capture is you made him feel comfortable. He seemed more at ease, letting him know your intentions to help in such a difficult situation. Yeah, absolutely. And that's always the goal, man. I want to make sure that I made a reels today, right? The art of active listening has been lost today, especially with these like raw, very hyped sales trainers. Like, get out of here, man. Like, and there's no better way to piss a seller off than wanting to get your point across because you want the end result, right? Instead of meeting them where they're at, listening to their situation, creating a solution that solves their problem, and then ultimately leading the conversation into a contract, right? Good point on that. I like that you made him feel comfortable by understanding and acknowledging his age and that the decision he's about to make is a big one. Yeah, a lot of people don't do that. If you ever noticed that, right? Um, it's one of those things. An average salesperson, average acquisition is just gonna drive, right? Look for that low hanging fruit, that seller that's desperate. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to have high level conversations, right? And within the high level conversations and under in the framework, then I'm going to basically get that contract because I understand the situation. I'm creating a solution based on their needs and wants, right? And then they close themselves. Really, that's all it is. I'm orchestrating the conversation. Remember when we first started the call? We're orchestrating the conversation. All right. So John just got back to me. He said a non-exclusive option through next Friday per team sounds reasonable as long as I'm not able to check back with you before, so I'm be comfortable moving forward. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to rewrite it, and he's going to sign it. Okay. And look, I use the same tactics through email. And here's what I told him, John. I review your message. I think your concerns are fair, right? I think your concerns are fair. I can definitely make the agreement non-exclusive. That's not a problem. The 3 days would definitely not be enough, especially that we're going into the weekend. Boom, attack it, right? Acknowledge his concern, solve his concern. Now, let me tell you about my concern. You see what I'm saying? Too many times we're too concerned. We're too concerned about our concerns. No, no. Too many times we make this our problem the seller's problem, right? It's like, hey man, I think your concerns are fair. I can definitely make the agreement non-exclusive. That's not a problem. Okay, addressed it, answered it. Now let me tell you why your thing or your request is I'm not going to be able to do that, right? Always be ready to walk away from the sale. Always, right? But don't let them walk away. Then we're going to bring them back, right? Bring them back and say, the only way this would work is if we do a non-exclusive until next Friday, April 19th. And that's the only way either I can do it or you can do it. So now I'm going to text them back and say, hey, sounds fair. I will rewrite it. I will update it and send it. Thank you. Man, you guys are getting a master class here. Name another place where you're seeing the full scope of work. Like, I, drop in the chat. Like, I don't know anybody else that, and I'm not trying to go by ego, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that, but this is the reason why I'm happy. This is the reason why I created the Deal Lab specifically for this right here. Everything we're doing today, right? And guess what? Finish Friday, baby, right? Finish Friday. Quit glazing yourself, bro, but you're right. I love you, bro. I love you. Hope you're doing good, man. You're so funny, dog. But again, you know what I'm saying? Like, here we go. Nowhere. 10 exclamation points, right? Um, all right. So now I got to go into Google Doc and update it because actually, he said likewise, homie. Change your name, bro. You're not a pirata. Come on. Oh, man. You're so funny, bro. All right, let me correct this and I'm going to send it to him. This option agreement is a non-exclusive agreement between seller and buyer. Seller is not required to give. Uh, all right. Holy smokes, this is not gonna fit. Damn. What the heck happened here? Oh, there we go. Okay. No way, no. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Okay, we're gonna. All right. I'm gonna send it to him. And then I'm gonna mark this actually. Let's see. Oh shoot. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. This option agreement. Oh. All right. This option agreement is a non-exclusive agreement between seller and buyer. Seller is not required by buyer to give 24-hour notice. Seller will approve offers present. All right. Perfect. All right. Let's get back to it. And then once it's signed, I'm gonna get it over to. Now you can't. One of the things with an option agreement, right, is that you you can't open escrow, obviously, right? I think that you got to make sure that you are. What's going on here? Oh, okay. Yeah, with an option agreement, it's not a contract, so be conscious of that, right? Make sure that that you understand that. And so. Um, you're gonna have to turn it into a but the great thing about this is that it's making it's you're being very transparent, right, with the seller. And so even though you should be, and I'm not just saying with an option agreement, like you should always be transparent with sellers on what your intentions are, right? All the time. Transactions go better that way, right? When you are transparent with sellers, the transactions just go a lot better because you don't have to retract, you don't have to make up lies, you don't have to. That's one of the things that I want you all to take away as we go into this. We're only 2 days in, honestly. Like, I mean, the first day was really structuring. Potentially we might have this option agreement, and then Mr. Farik, maybe get that under contract. So Jose, that's a really great question, by the way. So typically, so this transaction I'm treating it a little bit different because it's out of the buy box in regards to price point, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm just positioning myself as the middleman, right? I'm positioning myself as the principal, but as a middleman. So what I put in what I put in the option agreement, I put see additional terms in the price, and then in the additional terms, I put that seller will approve any offers that I bring to the buyer, right? Because we're going to see, what one of the goals here is to shop it and see what buyers are coming in. Now, let's say that we have buyers coming in at 1.6. Well, I'm going to come in probably 50K below that. Like, hey, I got an offer at 1.550, right? Or if a buyer comes in at 1.7, right? Hey, I got an offer at 1.650. You see what I'm saying? What I'm doing with this, right? And so that way, I add my fee in there, and then, he gets, if he's comfortable with that price, we'll move forward with the 1.550 purchase agreement, and then I'll sign to the buyer for 1.6, right? So on this one, I didn't put an option price. Usually I do, because sellers know what they want. This guy is tricky. He hasn't really given his number. He hasn't given me his number. So what I did is I put seller to approve offers that the buyer brings, right? And so again, transparency, right? Very transparent here. Everybody knows what needs to happen, right? All right. But that's a really good question. Like, the option price, the only time you shouldn't use an option is this type of scenario. And then the main reason why you should use an option is because, or the only time you should be using an option, excuse me, let me reword that. The only time you should be using an option agreement instead of a contract is when you're close enough but too far apart, right? Like, they don't want to list, you already pitched them an ovation. They don't want to list, they don't want to, do any of that. And let's say that your MAO is 200,000, but they want 220 for it. You know what I'm saying? And so basically, you're like $20,000 apart, right? You made every effort you can to try to meet that gap. Maybe it's 225. I wouldn't go more than like 30K, honestly. Like, if you do an option 30K, you can if you want. That's going to be tough, but an option agreement should only be used like in this scenario specifically, because I don't want to contract it fully. But or if you're almost there, but you're not meeting that gap, right? And you still want to try to push it out to your buyers, that's when you should present the option agreement, the one-page permission slip. So, yep. What does it say? So you lock. I'm not sure I understand that, bro. Can you retype that? So you lock first with deposit. Yeah, I'm not sure what. Please, can you rewrite that comment? Hey, how are you, Jennifer? Nice to have you on the live. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go back now. Let's see who we have that we can contact. So weird, man. We get like these. So weird that we get like a. Let's see. Let's call this guy Tim. Tim. Lock up buyer first. No. So let me explain this. Yes and no. Sorry, Jose. Yes and no. So yes, an option agreement is definitely a document that makes you a principal, right? Like I explained before, gives you the ability to market the property based on your intention and what's in the option agreement. And then yes, you can go out and lock in a buyer verbally. You don't want to sign this. You don't want to sign an assignment with the buyer yet, right? Because you don't have a full blown purchase agreement with the seller, right? So once you lock in a buyer verbally, right, and you let them know, give me 24 hours, then you come back to the seller and present the offers that are coming in, right? And then the seller will say, even if they want in that scenario, even if they're at 220 and you got to be at 190, 200,000, right? If you're only getting offers at 205, 210, 215, you go back to the seller and you say, hey, offers are coming in at 200,000, right? And this is from putting it out there, with our large investment network of over a million contacts. So that's the beautiful thing about the option agreement, right? And now we go back to the seller and get them to sign but the reason why you don't want to sign that assignment and get an agreement in writing with the buyer is because you don't have the full-blown contract. Now, I've had this debate in the past, like, well, why not just lock it up? Because I don't want to waste the seller's time. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to. I'm not that type of person. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't just contract deals like just because I want to say I got the contract. I want to be able to. I want to work an actual deal, right? So I don't want to waste the seller's time by getting them all locked up and then getting them excited about it, like, and then I feel more comfortable doing it this way, so I can come back and make an adjustment on the option price. And there's going to be properties where I do take risks, right? I'm not saying that I never do, but in this scenario, like, this is a sharp guy, right? Like, this guy understands the game, and so I think he feels comfortable with this process for sure.
You have dialed is invalid. Good.
What? Wrong number? Hmm. All right, let's see. Man, time is flying.
Please leave your message.
All right, let's do a roll call real quick. Who has shared this stream with one person? Drop a 1 in the chat if you shared this stream with one person since we've been not necessarily today, but since we launched. Who has shared? James Blue. What kind of name is James Blue? So Jennifer shared it. Jose shared it on his IG feed. Let's go. Appreciate you, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing it. My guy Jose has shared it on his IG. Let's do it.
You have dialed is invalid. Goodbye.
Man, that's crazy. Wrong number. Dang, where's the support at? Only 2 people?
Please leave your message for.
I'm just kidding. I know some of you guys have tagged me on your stories. I think Jorge has tagged me on his stories. He shared it. Appreciate you, Angel. Thank you.
Please leave your message 21633.
No way, no. No way, no. I need another conversation. Man, this time's flying by. I can't believe it's almost 1 already. Seller name Osama Salam. Osama Salam. Real name or no? Interesting. Hello, Haim. Hi, Haim. This is Max. I'm calling you because we got your inquiry on our website about selling that property over on Wilson Street.
No, it's not for sale. Thank you.
Oh, I'm confused. You submitted the form and you're not selling no more? Hung up on me. Come on, dog. Big Heim. Come on. Getting hungry. You guys got me fasting today. No food, nothing but coffee and water. No comida, no tacos, no huevos rancheros, nada. Let's see. Energy's good though. Energy's really good. Jeez.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is
Bing, boom, bam, boom, boom. Dang, come on, dog. How you gonna do me like that, bro? Dang, that's messed up, bro. Wow. I'm gonna cry right now, bro. I'm gonna cry right now. He gonna cry in the car. Jeez, bro. I just said I haven't eaten all day, and this guy's like, we just had homemade cheeseburgers here at the house, bro. I'm like, jeez, bro. How do I block you? I'm just kidding. Nice, brother. I love hamburgers for sure. Yeah, so I might have a hamburger actually today. That's what I probably have. Give me a good idea, bro. Went through my closers lab notes the other day and refreshed myself on all the amazing things you taught me. Nice. I love it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And that stuff, it's evergreen as well, Jennifer. So the what do you call it? The training is evergreen, which means that it's even applicable today, right? However, I'm modifying. I don't know if you were on today, but I'm modifying the script and I'm tweaking it, not rewriting the whole thing, but I'm tweaking a lot of it just to make it more relevant. But that's cool. A master of their craft always refreshes their skills, right? And goes back into their training. So I love hearing that. So, oh man, I want cheeseburgers now, bro. Cheeseburger. Oops. Hey, Jalen, you on this call, bro? JP, are you still on?
Dial is invalid. Goodbye.
What in the world? Why does it do that? This number is invalid. It's really weird. No answer. Hey, bro, you never sent me the link to the that report or what is it called? Article, excuse me, to that article about Tennessee. Send it over, man. DM me. Come on, dog. Get in my DMs. I don't know what's going on with these numbers, bro. What up, Jermaine? I haven't seen you in a while, man. Hope you're doing well, bro. This guy over here, I'm being vulnerable over here, saying you guys got me fasting, and haven't eaten anything all day, just coffee and water. And he's like, we just had homemade cheeseburgers. I'm just giving Jorge out of time though. I would love to take a peek at your fresh script. Yeah, once it's done, it's not done yet, so I'll let you guys know when it's done. So cool. I'll be expecting it. So Jerome.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person. Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Well, be available. Be about it. And I've been good, bro. I've been good just here on the live. You know what I'm saying? So doing the thing as well, brother. Why can't I search merge? Add a contact. No, I don't want to do that. Hmm. Oh, okay. I see. No, can't do that either. There we go. Apply. Boom. Oh God. Okay, here we go. Sending out a text message, guys. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Hello, Clive?
Yeah.
Hey, Clive, this is Max. I'm calling you because we got your inquiry on our website about selling that property over at Setter's Way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, appreciate confirming that. Wanted to call you, obviously, ask you some few follow through questions to see if we can qualify the property for an offer.
Yeah, well, what's your question?
No problem. So a few things. Obviously, I got most of the information online. Is this a rental property or is this your primary residence?
What does it matter?
Well, it depends. Well, if it's a rental property,
It's empty currently.
it's what?
It's empty.
Okay, it's empty. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay. That's all I need to know, because if it's a rental property, we just need to know if it's going to be vacant or if you're going to have tenants in place. So it does matter when we make an offer.
It's empty right now. It's just like the pictures you see on the web.
Okay. Got it. And then can you verify the bedroom and bathroom counts for me?
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths.
Okay. 2.5 baths. Okay. It says 3 bathrooms, but so 2.5. Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that.
Well, it has a full bathroom plus a soaking tub in the master bedroom.
Okay. Got it. That makes more sense. And I am showing about 1,600 square feet, just a little over.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And you said the pictures on online are pretty current?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. And is there an HOA for the property?
Yep.
There is. Okay. What do you pay on the HOA a month?
200 a year.
Oh, 200 a year. Okay, that's not too bad. Compared to some other ones where I've seen 200 a month. Okay.
I'm having a call coming today. What's your point of question?
Well, I mean, this is not a call I want to rush. I mean, this is a big decision for you, and it's a big decision for me. So when can I call you back? See, call them out and they hang up. Like, I'm not gonna play their game. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes sellers think that it's just things revolve around their world, and you have to sometimes just bring them to reality, right? Like, if you're not wanting to talk, this guy's been trying to sell. This guy's been in our database, and I know why now, for a little while, right? So, if you don't want to answer a few questions, you don't get an offer, bro. He was doing good, and then he's tried to lie to me and said he had a call coming in. He has a call coming in, and then he says, "What are your questions?" Okay, dude. Ain't nobody got time for that. Bro, crazy. Actually, I'm going to call him back and tell him we got disconnected. Watch this.
In a moment, please leave me a message after the tone, and I'll get back to you in a second. Thank you.
I'm going to send him a text message. I'm like, hey, Clive, what a guy. All right, here we go. All right, send him a text message. I got to connect something. That dude's wild. All right, let's call the next one. Huh.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic. Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. Celia is not available. At the tone, please record your message.
Oh, bueno. No, bueno. Barry Smith.
Four, five, four. Zero, four, five, four, five, zero, four, zero.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
I wonder if he's calling me back. Hello?
Take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Now that voicemail's throwing me off. Sounds like someone's talking. All right. Next. Hmm.
Call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. Call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to...
Well, no one's picking up. Let's go. It's happy hour Friday already, I think. Let's see. Oh, Jalen sent me this document. What's this? Interesting. I hadn't seen this yet. So this is you guys want to see this? This Tennessee HB0781. I would have to look. So I don't know. Oh, dude, this is nothing. I'll share it with you guys, but I don't think it's nothing. But I got a few people I can reach out to. Um, okay. So this says, as enacted, requires a buyer engaged in wholesaling real property to disclose certain information related to the buyer's equitable interest in the real property to the seller and subsequent purchaser. Amends Title 47 and 36. This has already been signed. It got signed April 8th. This bill adds new provisions to the Tennessee law regarding wholesaling real property, which is practice where a buyer enters into a contract to purchase property and then assigns their contractual rights to another buyer at a higher price before actually purchasing the property. As specifically, the bill defines equitable interest as the right of a buyer to benefit from real property after entering a purchase contract, but before receiving legal title. The bill requires buyers engaged in wholesaling to make specific written disclosures to both the original seller and potential subsequent purchasers, including details about their equitable interest in the property and their intent to market the property before finalizing the purchase. These disclosures must be in bold, large font and include in the written agreement. The buyer must disclose their intent to assign the contract at least 3 business days before the assignment, if the contract allows such assignment. The bill also establishes that any legal action for violating these requirements must be commenced within 2 years of the original property purchase contract. The new law will apply only to real property transactions and will take effect immediately upon becoming law. All right. So, few things. Okay. So, the first thing is that, I mean, great. I think this is, all you're doing is disclosing your intent, right? All this verbiage and stuff, I have it in my personal contract, right? Like, my contract is pretty neutral to work all across states, except for the ones that don't allow wholesaling. But this is similar to what, from my opinion, anyways. Again, I'm not an attorney. I don't play one in on TV either. But when I read this, all it's saying is that you need to make sure that in your contract it states your intentions of assigning the contract, right? The days of and or signs is no long the days of just having and or signs on your contract. If you haven't updated it, I think most of you have, but the days of just having and or signs and using that as, as the option to assign the contract, that's not going to work anymore, right? I think you have to be conscious of that, especially with all the laws changing and everything that's coming down the pike. You have to be conscious of that specifically. But the only thing that I don't like about this, okay, is that this leads to other things, right? That's the only thing. But I mean, that's okay. Like, you should do that. Like, sellers should know that you're assigning. Like, why hide it? You know what I'm saying? Um, Transparency is what's required in our industry, right? Like, I don't see anything wrong with this, right? Because a lot of times what happens, and even when people do innovations, they don't disclose, right? And that's the problem. In real estate, we always talk about what's the most important thing in real estate. And people always say location, 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 right? That's your typical real estate agent word verbiage, right? But to me, yeah, location is great, but the most important thing in a real estate transaction is disclose, 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 and get it in writing. Disclose, 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 and get it in writing, right? Location, location, location. Awesome. So this is something that happened here in Arizona. Has the same thing. Like, the buyers have to, or the sellers, in your purchase agreement, it has to state that you are a wholesale buyer. But my contract, I take it a step further, and I'm literally letting them know, like, I am assigning. I'm gonna look for a buyer that I can assign my, like, everything spelled out. It's not just a marketing. Most people have a marketing paragraph in there, but my contract has an actual, a full paragraph of investor disclosure of exactly what's going to happen step by step, for two reasons. One is that I don't want the seller trying to eventually at some point, you know, coming after my assignment fee, right? Because that could happen. But again, disclosure, disclose, put it in writing. Like, when you're talking to sellers, like, you need to be as transparent as possible, right? Like, be very transparent in your intention, be very clear on what's happening, right? And then most of all, make sure that it's written somewhere. Your contract, right? Your agreement. Let me pull up. I'm gonna show you one of the things that I have on my contract. And by the way, um, you guys should get your contracts reviewed. I'm just letting you know, because not all contracts work throughout different states. Now, you might, I'm not saying that you got to have a different contract for different state, but what I'm saying is that you should have some type of, like, general contract that encompasses a lot of this language, right? A lot of the transparency and disclosing what your full intentions are, right? Why can't I find this? Jeez. Oh, here we go. Let me see. What the heck? Now, I'm just showing you as educational purposes. I'm not giving you legal advice, by the way. Okay? Don't take this and cut it up and said Max gave us legal advice that we can do this. um, where is the contract at? What's going on here? Okay, here it is. Let's see. I want to make sure I highlight. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's not it. Okay, look how big this paragraph is. I'm going to show you guys right now. You can screenshot it if you want, but actually, I'm not going to let you guys screenshot it. I'm going to read it to you. It's a big paragraph. It's like this, it's like big, right? And it's called investor disclosure. And I have 3 things in there. One is the buyer is an investor and purchases properties with the intent to lease, resell, or assign its interest to otherwise make a profit. We start there, right? Buyer shall have unrestricted right to assign this agreement in whole or in part to an entity, affiliate, or individual without prior consent of the seller. Right? So I'm covering myself, letting the seller signing off that I am going to sign. I am going to assign this. Furthermore, seller acknowledges and agrees that buyer may assign its interest in this contract for profit, and that such assignment does not constitute a breach of default under this agreement. You see what I'm saying? So I'm disclosing, getting permission, and I'm letting them know when seller asks, like, what's your intention? Well, we're a full real estate solutions company. Sometimes we wholesale and assign our rights. Sometimes we flip, whatever the case may be, right? And then any assignee of buyer should be entitled to the same rights, obligation, and protections under this agreement as the original buyer. This is the part right here. Seller agrees. Seller acknowledges that the purchase price may be less than market value and is willingly selling the property as such for a reason of convenience, time savings, lack of funds to renovate, or other personal motivation. Seller fully understands that the buyer and or its representatives are wholesale buyers and are not earning any commission from the seller. The buyer has not made the seller any representations or promises as to the value of the property and its as-is condition. Boom. It's a whole paragraph, right? investor disclosure paragraph. And that's what Tennessee is, that what just passed over in Tennessee. That's what they want, right? And it's not just there; like it's everywhere. If I'm doing an assignment, or sorry, an novation, well, there's specific language for innovation too as well. I have a contract that's specifically. I have 2 contracts. I have one for wholesale deals, and I have one for innovations, right? Because this contract here has different language, right? Compared to the one for innovation. So I don't see anything wrong with what they're asking for. I think you should disclose. And that's why it's important to get your contracts reviewed. So that way you're making sure that you're staying, within the requests that that people are or the states are wanting. Yeah, my innovation contract is different. Like there's paragraphs about, there's a novation terms and disclosure paragraph, right? There's a funding seller disclosure where we're telling the seller that the money's not coming from us. They know that, right? They're going to be delivered by a third party. And then we have an addendum. I have an addendum and things like that. So, and that has the investor disclosure as well too, right? So again, disclosing everything as much as possible that you can cover yourself to disclose. You need to make sure you do that. Now, this is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. This is more for educational purposes. So, but yeah, interesting. I thought it was worse than that, Jalen, but thank you for sending that. I really appreciate that, for sending that over so I can take a look at it. I hadn't seen it. But again, the only thing I don't like about that is that means that the door is opening up for other things to come down the road. Right. The only thing is for things to come down the road, and you got to tighten up your game, man. Like, it's these people that are running rampant and not really, they don't take this business seriously, like probably you do and I do. And so, locking up deals, locking innovations up, and still telling the seller that they're the buyers. Like I've seen that happen so many times. Like why? Sneaking in, right? The AIF and the innovation identification, and then sneaking the listing. Like, how do you, like, I don't understand that. Like, how do you move a property? How do you do innovation if you're trying to sneak in everything, right? Sneaking in, listing it on the market. Like, that's crazy. Like, people are going to find out, And so I think, again, disclosing your intentions up front with the seller and documenting it, right? Those are the 2 most important things that I think you got to do. So cool. Where can we purchase your contracts, Mauro? I don't have those for sale, unfortunately. And there's a big reason why, right? It gets tricky because I've had people want me to give them my contract, and I just don't, man, because it can get tricky, right? Like, when questions, if something wants to go south, or I have some old contracts but they're not like this, right? So I wish I could, sell them to you, but I definitely something that I can't do. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to end the live today here just because, I'm going to catch up on a few things. But guys, I really appreciate everyone for rocking with me Friday. I know that you could be doing other stuff. Make sure that you finish off the day. For those of you on the East Coast, it's only 3:30, so you got some time still to close up the day, finish off strong. For those of you that are on Central Standard Time, it's only, for East Coast, it's 4:30. I know you guys are going to correct me. So you still got the time to finish the day. For Central Time, it's 3:30. So you still got some time to finish up. So make sure that you finish Friday strong. I'm obviously going to do some follow-ups here a little bit later, some new leads coming in and things like that. But I'm going to end the live today because I got to go eat some cheeseburgers like Jorge. No, but I appreciate everyone for joining me. Next week, join me next week. Remember the schedule. It's going to be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays are going to be open for more of things that I need to do. But Jorge, I really appreciate you for joining us today. I'm glad that you got gems out of this live today. And Jennifer, good seeing you. Thank you for joining the live. Remember, share this with someone. Make sure that you like the video. Share it with one person. Make sure that you get the word out. We're doing this. We're locking up deals live. We're not a bad 2 days, right? We got an option agreement out. We got a potential contract. We got so many follow-ups. I mean, this is the real work, not the highlight reel inside of what's it called, Instagram, right? You guys are seeing live. Like, this is the real work. And once we get going, and remember, I'm starting all over. Like, you guys see, like, none of these leads were already called or anything like that. Like, I'm starting from scratch, like you guys, right, with these deals. So I really appreciate you. Yes, that's right. Disclosed. And then the last part, put it in writing, right? Jose, I appreciate you, man. You're always on supporting. I want to thank you guys. And it's been a good day today. So a lot of conversations, and I'll keep you guys posted on the option agreement. And I'll be back live Monday. If you guys need anything, don't hesitate. Reach out to me on Instagram. Real Max Jimenez on Instagram. For those of you that don't follow me, I am very active there. I answer DMs. I know somebody now. When I say I answer DMs, I don't mean like on the spot. I do get back to you eventually, but I am a little bit more active on there than like Messenger or anything like that. So I really appreciate you all for joining me and for basically being on this long, for joining me for 3.5 hours. So I'll see you again. Don't forget, this is the Deal Lab. Real calls, real deals, and real closers. Finish Friday strong. Have a great weekend. And lock up deals tomorrow, Saturday, too. See y'all later.